Oh, hi! Today I'm doing either part 2 or part 3, depending on what order I get these videos out, for Lil Bert's Bertie Bott's Every Flavor Bean bed. Now he's been using the bed for a week or two, so it did go through the wash. I'm gonna iron all that out before the final reveal of everything together. So he's currently napping in his suitcase bed with the protective pool noodle, which will make sense if you watch the full video, on one of his other pillowcase beds, which I have a whole video on that too, if you want to see some shit. Basically, I've been making a fuckload of stuff for this dog, and he seems to be okay with getting spoiled. Okay, so the project for today is basically a decoration. It would be really easy to turn it into a toy for Bert, which I'm contemplating now that I have that idea in my head. I'll think about it. We'll see how willing I am to let him destroy it at the end of all of my hard work and blood, sweat, and tears. So we're basically gonna make a little felt applique. Though I'm basing this whole bed aesthetic off of the striped Bertie Bott's boxes from the Harry Potter movies, and I think they're the ones they sell at Honeyduke's at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal, which I did not purchase because I've tortured myself with Bertie Bott's Every Flavor Beans before, and it's usually a horror show. I don't like good flavored jelly beans, but I did get these lemon drops while I was there, meaning these are about 3 years old. They taste very chemically, but I don't hate them. That jar and this bottle of Gilly water is about all I brought home from that trip. Because this may or may not surprise you, Universal Studios, really fucking expensive. But anyways, if you have seen the box, probably already know what I'm talking about. There's these weird little baby heads that I assume are clowns, but they look kind of childlike. I see what they're going for. I both love and hate it a lot. So since this is a dog bed we're making for my little bean, I'm gonna make a little dachshund head rather than have terrifying baby clown heads. So I did just a very rough outline of a dachshund. They got long snoots, also cut out a little party hat. I'm gonna tape this together though, because for the base piece, I'm gonna cut out one whole piece of felt and then we're gonna build on top of that. Just line it up however you want. I did the side view head with the little plumes on top. There's 4 different ones you can kind of base it off of, and or make your own version of it. It's all gonna be great. And actually, I think I'm gonna put it more on the back of his head. Yeah, I like that better. So I'm using felt for all of this. If you've ever noticed this big case up here, it's entirely felt. It's just mountains of this inside of there. And I finally get to use it. You know what's wild is, even though I've had an entire container just for holding on to felt, the past 3 times I've needed to use felt for a project, I haven't had the right color. Thankfully, I have all the primary colors covered. I may get into some dachshund accents, or I may leave him pretty solid black. I'm not sure. I don't want to ruin it by overdoing it. Good thing I'm eating a lemon drop when all I want is to be drinking my coffee, but that's going to be a fucking nightmare mouth situation if I put both of those flavors together. So I guess I'll drink water. Okie doke. I'm going to pin my little Bert head with a dumb little hat, I love it so much, onto the black felt. Because the most prominent color on this is going to be the black, because that's going to be his whole head. I'm using that as the base color, but whatever is your most prominent color for whatever you end up doing for this. I find that easier than trying to piece all this together, is just having one solid base layer. I'm gonna try to cut it out with this giant pair of scissors because I can't find any of my smaller pairs. Oh my gosh. You can tell what it is. That's so exciting. Okay, now time to decorate. I'll just use this to stuff something later. There's going to be more toys happening today. So now I'm going to take the hat piece back off and start building up the smaller layers. So the next big chunk is going to be the red, because I want the main part of the hat to be red. Start trimming that. Things are going to shift as you're cutting things out and not be exactly perfect, so I'm not expecting this to line up precisely. As long as we're getting the general gist of it, I think we're pretty much there. I want this stripe here to be blue, maybe? Or maybe I hit it with the yellow. Ooh, maybe a green. You can start cutting the pattern pieces down as you work your way through the smaller bits, like this. So that's gonna lay there like this. I've got that on there. Gonna add striping here. I'm just gonna cut out basically little tiny narrow triangles. So one here. Cool. And then I'll do this top bit. Oh, maybe I need one more color. I think I'll add some purple to this. You can tell I used this felt to cut out my hipster Harry Potter koozie. I did that for a last minute Halloween costume video years ago. I'll put an iCard up at the top if you have any interest, but it makes me laugh every time I see it, and I do use this koozie sometimes. But that's where it came from. It doesn't mean that's the last time I touch this felt, so I've had it for a while. Okay, I'm gonna cut out the plume, and I actually think I'm gonna put a little bead on top of here for the round bit, but we'll see. Add that on top of there. Now for our last little piece, it's definitely going to be the hardest to cut out. It's just trickier the smaller you get. Not too much of a color contrast, but I just wanted to add a little something to it. So this is the base. Let me clean up my pin so I don't stab myself. Well, I spoke too soon. Okay, so now we start the stitching. If you have a lot more colors than me and you feel like it's stupidly bulky, go ahead and cut some of the under layers out. I would keep the base color, but I'm considering trimming the red out of the plume up here just to not have so much weight up at the top. So I'm going to dig out some matching embroidery floss and get to it. You can also use contrasting thread if you want to add a little more zhuzh to whatever you're working on. Try to make it look intentional. I mostly say this because I'm realizing I don't have a good dark green, so I'm not sure what to do for that other than find a contrasting color. Also, super random, digging around in this embroidery floss container. It's basically a tackle box. I just found a little felt skull and crossbones that I made God knows how many years ago. Cute! Maybe I'll turn that into something. I am so on the Halloween train, y'all. I know it's mid-August, but I am ready for fall and all the spooky things that come with it. Give it to me. I'm gonna start with the smallest pieces first and work our way to the bigger pieces. So basically reverse order. So I've had this felt laying around forever. I've also had all of this embroidery floss for ages, and in addition to my own hoard, my mom did a gorgeous cross stitch. She's so good at those small tedious things. Even her hand sewing is tiny and impeccable, and I just can't get that gene to kick in. That's how biology works, right? You just want something bad enough passed down to you. Can I also request the red hair that runs in part of my family but I did not inherit? I would also like that. Okay, anyways, she did this cross stitch years ago, and I still have all of it. This is making me want to do more felt work because it's so fun layering shit up like this. As I'm pulling the thread through, I'm gripping that other tail. I'm gonna have a weird claw hand for this entire process, but it helps. And then the actual stitches are just the single layer of the embroidery floss. Just kidding with the embroidery floss. I super hated how that was looking. So we are over to regular ass thread and a regular ass needle. And because I like thrifting things, does this count as a thrift haul now? I got this for $1. Just a box of random thread. I don't know what brand it is. There's not a lot on any of the spools, and some of the colors there's close to 20, and then some other colors, you know, real buck wild ones like red, there's one of. But I've used it quite a bit actually, and I was able to find closer matching options. So I'm going to still do whip stitching and attach all these together. I'm gonna put a video on in the background and just zone out for a little bit while I work on this. Oh my gosh, that took a really long time, and I do regret taking the red off. I wish I had kept it because it would give this more stability, but I put a little sequin and some white felt holding this up so it's not flopping everywhere. I'm not gonna fuck with the face. I really like how this looks, and especially with the black against the red and white stripes, how that's gonna look is going to be oh, so good. I'm really glad this idea came together and I took the time to do it. I haven't felt like his bed has been finished this whole time because I knew it needed a little accent. And now I need to just make him some little bean toys. Well, I finished the other two projects as well as the little applique thing. All I did was stitch one of these safety pins to the back so it can hang on the curtain, but I'm pretty jazzed with how it came out. And Bert doesn't seem to care about that as much as he cares about the beans I just made him and the bed as a whole, but he doesn't seem to hate the decor. He's the best boy, and I'm really proud of how that came out. It's just the silliest. If you'd like to see how I made those little bean plushes, it's actually an exclusive over on my Patreon for the time being. So if you've ever been considering going over there, every tier, $1 up, has access to all the stuff I post on there. Yeah, come hang out with us. It's a fun little group. Well, I'm gonna go play with this little dummy, but I'll see you all back here with another video on Saturday. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, I'm sorry, these are the sherbet lemons. My bad.